after natural changes. The water from the Mekong River's mouth, flowing into the East Sea, continuously deposits alluvium along the Tra Vinh coastal region. The brackish water zones near the sea crystallize into sources that provide well-known local items. It's a story of people, both conquering and adapting to nature to harvest marine resources that bring fame to their homeland. Khao and Gang District, with its 15-kilometer coastline, is regarded as the beginning point of Tra Vinh's coastal plains, and it is our first destination on today's journey. The land and water here have produced the famous Greasyback shrimp that created the Vinh Kim dried shrimp brand. What makes this one-of-a-kind product appealing? And are these natural Greasyback shrimp still available today? Vinh Kim is gifted by nature with an intricate network of canals through which water flows favorably in and out. The main season for these shrimp runs from September or October through May of the following year. Every day, the locals set their trap cages in the morning and sell their catch. The average income from 1 hectare is about 300,000 dong per day, enough to cover a family's living expenses. Mr. Ha Van Dieren, a coastal farmer, shared that he had known about the Khao Nong's brackish water Greasyback shrimp since his childhood. Each year, saltwater from the East Sea flows through the Co Chen River deep into Khao Nong's inland areas, where Vinh Kim experiences 6 months of freshwater and 6 months of brackish water. While Vinh Kim's soil is challenging for rice farming, it's incredibly generous with aquatic resources. Brackish water creates an attractive environment for Greasyback shrimp to thrive. Working with nature, the Vinh Kim's people attract the shrimp to live naturally in their rice fields. For rice farming, we sow on July 20th and harvest by November 20th. Shrimp are a natural bounty. Simply flood the fields and they'll appear. Year-round, they thrive in these waters. They reproduce and grow naturally. And when the time is right, we harvest them. We harvest every day or every few days, and we have money to spend daily. Greasyback shrimp are locally known as golden shrimp or the sea's blessing. After the rice season, people just need to clear the land and let river water in. After about a month and a half, shrimp can start harvesting without needing capital or maintenance. People can simply set trap cages and collect steadily each day for a comfortable living. The rice shrimp model has brought about a significant improvement in the lives of Khao Gang residents. The locals estimate that 1 hectare of rice farming combined with shrimp harvesting brings in about 200 million dong annually. Subzone 1 of Vinh Kim Commune, covering Ka Tam A and Ka Tum B hamlets, with 350 hectares, has been planned for this sustainable farming approach. This area is known for its shrimp. After the rice season, we have a natural shrimp season, with rice yields reaching 6 tons per hectare. And the shrimp add significant profit on top of that. This has helped the local people reduce their poverty. Now the villagers enjoy a stable and comfortable life. Over time, the greasyback shrimp's habitat has become threatened and reduced. This is partly due to the shift toward industrial shrimp farming to rapidly increase production. With such high profits, greasyback shrimp are no longer the only choice for many families. Several studies have indicated that the decline in natural greasyback shrimp populations is also a warning sign of environmental changes. Currently, some farmers in aquaculture and rice farming use harmful chemicals. When treating their ponds, they lack awareness and discharge into canals and rivers, which has greatly destroyed these greasyback shrimp. We will have specific plans to guide people. In Subzone 1 of Katama and Katambi hamlets, and other areas, to continue digging ponds for shrimp farming, combining it with rice farming, selecting high-quality rice varieties, to pair with the shrimp price model, so people have a stable harvest. We will also promote and encourage people to protect the environment in order to maintain and preserve the greasyback shrimp. While waiting for the next morning tide to check the traps on the Vinh Kim River, Mr. Ha Van Dieren suggested we try the region's famous specialty Vinh Kim dried shrimp. Mrs. Tran Thi Kum, now 80 years old, was the one who brought the field shrimp from the countryside to the city and transformed it into a celebrated local brand of Tra Vinh province. When I was young, I used to sell in Tra Vinh, and business was very good. Later on, when the volume became too large, I couldn't keep up with peeling the shrimp, so I started boiling them. Gradually, I refined the process, and the dried shrimp developed a better taste. Vinh Kim dried shrimp has been certified as an exclusive trademark by the Intellectual Property Office. As raw materials become increasingly scarce, the value of the Vinh Kim dried shrimp brand continues to rise. On average, it takes 10 kilograms of fresh shrimp to produce just over 1 kilogram of dried shrimp. Due to declining natural shrimp sources, production cannot meet demand, so customers must pre-order. To create a quality product, the input of ingredients must be fresh. The shrimp must be thoroughly cleaned before processing. First, the greasyback shrimp are boiled, then go through several processes: drying, shell removal, and shell sifting. Creating high-quality dried shrimp requires a patience and precise process, involving boiling at the perfect temperature, sun-drying to perfection, and meticulously removing and sifting the shells. This will result in the beautiful dried shrimp. Sun drying is the most crucial step in creating the Vinh Kim dried shrimp's distinctive flavor. The secret to this craft sounds simple: plenty of sun exposure and thorough drying. Mrs. Hai Kim believed this creates a product that not only maintains quality and distinctive sweetness, but also preserves well without chemicals or food coloring. We check the shrimp during drying until they turn golden yellow and their shells become crispy. Then we crack them. After cracking, we sift them, then dry them again. They must be dried thoroughly to taste good. If not dried properly, they'll develop a bad smell. We must stick to our standards and never change them. If we change, the shrimp won't taste good and people will complain. But doing it this way, everyone seeks us out. The humble field shrimp, after processing, takes on an attractive reddish-pink color that catches the eye. The shrimp has a delicate sweet taste, and if stored properly, can last up to a year. Vinh Kim dried shrimp costs between 800,000 and 1.5 million dong per kilogram, depending on the grade. The product is highly popular with customers, often chosen as gifts, especially during holidays and Tet. Currently, the Vinh Kim dried shrimp facility mainly sells within Tra Vinh province, with partners shipping via post office to customers in other Mekong Delta provinces and Ho Chi Minh City. After decades in the trade, Mrs. Hai Kim always maintains that preserving the quality and distinctive flavor of Vinh Kim Greasyback shrimp is essential. A local specialty is more than simply a flavor. It represents the essence of the land, water, and the character of the local people. At that time, I saw my mother making dried shrimp, and we've been doing it for decades now. In the past, we processed 1 or 2 tons daily. Now, it's not as much as before, just 100 to 200 kilograms. I continue to preserve the Vinh Kim dried shrimp tradition, passed down from my mother, ensuring the brand's history carries on. As planned, at 4 a.m. the next day, Mr. Ha Van Deeren took us on Nguyen Van Tri's boat to observe the retrieval of the fixed nets from the bottom of Vinh Kim River. Along this river, hundreds of households make their living this way. The diverse traditional fishing methods, such as net fishing, gill netting, and setting traps, are common livelihoods in the estuary. They've also become witnesses to the changes in their hometown river. In the old days, there were so many shrimp that we could only dry them for storage. Fresh shrimp were so abundant that they couldn't be sold. They were measured by the basketful. The amount of shrimp harvested back then was 5 times what it is now. But on the bright side, the price is higher now. Overall, it's just enough to make ends meet. Mr. Nguyen Van Tri represents the 3rd generation of his family's fixed net fishing tradition. During its heyday, a single haul would sustain a family for a month. Today, it's a gamble year to year, and being able to provide for his family is considered as a success. Each month, people check their nets during the tidal periods, the full moon and month's end. Each tidal period can last 5 to 7 days. On other days, they can still set nets, but don't harvest as much. During peak tides, if he's lucky with greasyback shrimp, Mr. Tri can earn about 500,000 dong per day, though sometimes he returns empty-handed, which is a common occurrence in this ancestral trade. The cost of setting up one fixed net for catching fish and shrimp is about 70 to 80 million dong. Generally, this job is really tough. since it requires working day and night. The northeast monsoon season is easier, while the southern monsoon season is harsher, with rain, wind, and cold. Yet we still have to work. When the tide comes, we must work. We can't just stay home because it's raining. I love this profession. It's like marriage. You commit to it fully, endure the hardships. Today, Mr. Try caught nearly 4 kilograms of shrimp, which they call a good tide. As he told, the greasyback shrimp prices are now high, ranging from 130,000 to 150,000 dong per kilogram. He reflected that, although the work is tough, it brings him joy. These tiny greasyback shrimp have helped many families overcome hardship, buy land, build homes, and send their children to school for better futures. That's the dream of many coastal farmers. The sea has blessed the Vinh Kim's land with a precious natural resource. Natural greasyback shrimp are considered as an indicator species of brackish water ecosystems. Their declining numbers signal the environmental changes. Aquatic resources are important not just economically, but also for preserving the balance of natural ecosystems. The sustainable living conditions of humans are fundamentally guaranteed when the aquatic resources are preserved and enhanced.